After a few quite testing months in 2025, we finally come to a period of blessing, of ease and harmony. May 2025, I have good news for you. We went through Mars, Venus, Mercury retrograde, 2 eclipses, Saturn, Venus conjunctions, very intense influences in the last 3-4 months. But now we're gonna take a breath of fresh air and relief. As you can see, most of the transits and aspects between planets in May are harmonious, trines, sextiles. There are here and there a square, but it's very minimal compared to what we've been going through. We're like a soldier coming out of a battle. And we'll be in the month of May, we'll be recovering, recuperating, improving. Things will start looking up. We're out of the hardest period of 2025. So with this good news, we're gonna have a full moon in Scorpio with opposition with Uranus around the 12th of May, which might be a bit more excitable, unpredictable, intense, like the energy of Scorpio, but pretty much everything around it is fantastic. But the biggest event in May is that towards the end, on the 25th of May, Saturn is moving to Aries for the first time since 29 years, the 1995, 6, something like that it was then. In Aries again, and it will stay there for 3 months this year, and then 26 and 27, the whole 2 years it will be in Aries. So this video will focus on how Saturn, the bad big wolf of astrology, how you can tame it, how you can turn it into a loyal dog that will guard your back and to thrive through this period. So stay with me to see how Saturn will affect you. Actually, if you want to really dive into Saturn in Aries, I've created a 3-hour video plus around 40 pages PDF that covers absolutely every possible influence of Saturn in Aries. Say if you have Venus in Gemini, Saturn will try sextile it. Or if you have Libra, Jupiter, Saturn will oppose it. Or if you have Cancer, Moon, Saturn will square it. What are the influences on a personal level with many real life stories and remedies and how to overcome it and how to do the best out of it. Just $12. Check it out. I always try to be as affordable as possible. But now let's begin. I'm excited. Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, May 2025. Libra, this month the energy is much lighter. As you can see, Venus is in your 7th house, so it's gonna be the whole month in your 7th house. So relationships should improve. Definitely you are ruled by Venus, so you'll be more involved with others, more social, more interactions one-on-one with others, maybe more romantic time or your partner. If there was some complications in your relationship or in your contracts or in your agreements and alliances with others, or with clients, these will be all sorted out. They would all improve. Or if your partner was not feeling well, they'll start like feeling better. Also, good things will come to you from others. Venus is in the 7th house, is others that maybe the others are more graceful towards you, or you attract right alliances. Some of you might even meet love, who knows, or have more loving moments with others and your partners being more agreeable. And so, yeah, because Venus was retrograde in March in your 7th house, now it will start moving direct. So if there was any difficulties in the life of your partner or with others in your life, they'll start improving, and it will strengthen and make easier your interactions with others. And Mars is in another social house, the house of friends, of social circle, and very active the whole month there. You might be meeting with more people. You might be more active in for social causes, for just get together with friends and do things, do sports even. Or 11th house is also a business house. You can be more driven to reach out to more clients, to connect with more clients, or to connect with more like-minded people. Yes, at moments there might be some clashes with others about something, because Mars is, after all, a planet of arguments sometimes. But Mars is not doing hard aspects in the month of May, at least I don't remember that it's doing any, no. So I think it's more like being proactive socially, being more interactive as well, being more driven and ambitious for business, for work, even I could say as well, in the Mars in the 11th house, having more energy as well overall. And it's not like, you see, it's making good aspects to you, Mars, in some way, and Venus is watching out for your health as well, protecting you. So they build bridges, connect with others. This is the good side of the month with a lot of passion and energy there, the fire signs. Also, there is a full moon in your second house on the 12th of May, and its opposition with Uranus. There can be sudden windfall, financial, for example, on the 12th of May, the first week, so till the 18th. Something important here, there can be a focus on finances for you, on mutual finances with others in some way. Sorry, not mutual finance. Yeah, because the sun is also in your 8th house of finances with others. They can be, for example, if you've done some investments, now you can receive some money out of it, or they can be some important development for a loan or for a mortgage with the sun in the 8th house and the moon in the 2nd house. So something about finances becomes important, and the full moon is to see results, to be rewarded as well if you've done the right investments or financial decisions till now, to see the results of those. It can also mean that there is 2nd house is my money, 8th house is other people's money, my support, 8th house is other people's support. So there can be some important developments there about what comes from me, what comes from you, whether it's in a business relationship or a personal relationship, but nothing too dramatic, let's say. And the big event of May is that Saturn is moving from your 6th house, where it's been for 2 years already, into your 7th house on the 25th of May, and you'll feel it for 3 months only, June, July, and August this year. And then it will dip back into your 6th house from September, but from 2026 it goes fully into your 7th house, and it will stay there till 2028, part of 2028 as well. So bookmark this video, go to the timestamp, maybe in 10 months from now or a year from now, to see how Saturn is affecting you in your 7th house. There is a timestamp where Saturn in the 7th house, what it means for you. This video can be useful for you for many years ahead till Saturn is there. So Saturn in the 7th house, how is it going to affect you? Maybe you won't feel it from May. In May you have Venus mostly the feeling here. But the early born Libras will feel it this year in the 7th house. Those that are 0, 1, 2, 3 degrees of Libra, they would already feel Saturn in the 7th house. Maybe the other Libras as well, they'll get a feeling of what it is. But let me start by saying that Saturn, yes, it's a difficult planet. Yes, it's going to be opposing you. But Saturn is a benefic planet for Libras. Let's say it's not as harmful as for other signs, because Saturn rules very good houses from Libra. It rules 4th and 5th houses, which are good benefic houses. Saturn becomes a planet of success for Libra because it rules an angular and trinal houses, action and inspiration. And directly aspecting you, yes, you'll be pressured to act. Saturn is always about pressure, but this, and maybe from another person, maybe from your partner, maybe from external source, maybe from your family, maybe there'll be a pressure to you to act about something, but this will give good results. So don't resist it, let's say. And there might be pressure for you to act, because Aries is to act, to do something that comes to you from external source, from another person, but it wants to do something really good in your life, even if it's frustrating for you at moments, because Saturn rules good houses, to create something meaningful, to put it into action, for example. And sorry, I'm a bit sick. What will Saturn in the 7th house? Well, you'll be asked, what is Saturn? Saturn is an auditor. Saturn wants you to audit your relationships, for example, to see what is working there and what is not working. Are you too allowing? Are you letting others take advantage of you? Have you been too allowing to your partner? Now, over the next 2-3 years, you set boundaries and rules, and it is important to have those, because you can't just be ambivalent and expect the other to do what you want, but without telling them what you want. And Saturn makes you become straight shooter, put your cards on the table and say, well, these are my expectations, or these are my boundaries, these are my rules. If you want this, maybe we have to restructure these relationships, these business partnerships, this collaboration, this contract. And contracts that are not, let's say, fair, that are not constructive anymore, partnerships that have played out their role in your life might leave. You might decide that you don't need such things anymore. And a lot of Libra people are ruled by Saturn. The ones that are born during the day, if you're a Libra rising, born during the day, Saturn becomes your ruler, not just Venus. So it's almost like you're putting efforts in relationships to see which are the ones that are not constructive for you anymore, which are wasting your time, which contracts or agreements or even commitments in a relationship, so aspects of a relationship, not all relationships need to go. Maybe an aspect of a relationship needs to change. As I said, Saturn audits and sees what is wasteful, what doesn't work so well. Let's make it a bit better. And if there is on the other side, the business partner, or the client, or the marriage partner, or the boyfriend, girlfriend, if they say, okay, let's preserve this relationship, let's make it better, they would accept some rules, or they would put some rules on you. I remember when Saturn was opposing my sun, my partner was putting rules on me and pushing me to be better, to work harder, to not to be so lazy. I was very lazy. I used to be very lazy. I didn't want to work. And he says, no, if you want to start a business, be successful, these are the things you have to do. He made me even a spreadsheet, very dry Saturnian. So people in your life might be a bit more dry and Saturnian and saying like, or your partner, or, okay, so if you want to succeed and achieve some, because Saturn for you rules an creative house and an action house. So it's a combination for success. So if you want to succeed, maybe someone will appear in your life, or someone will take this role that they're pushing you. Like in my case, my partner was like, oh, if you want, this is spreadsheet on the fridge telling me you have to wake up at this time. You have to make an article every day. You have to record a video once. And I'm like, oh, I've never worked so hard. I had a lot of resistance. But Saturn asks us to work hard. And in my case, and usually when it's in the 7th house from your sun, from your moon, from your ascendant, it's to external force pushing you in some way to act, to change something. And then when I had Saturn in the 7th house from my moon, there was it's someone who is now my marketing manager. She was the one who was, I had when Saturn exactly opposed from the 7th house, my moon, my business, they closed my YouTube. I was like, that's it. That's the end of my career. And she was like, no, she was the one pushing me, putting the pressure on me. She said, we'll open another channel. We'll do this. And I was like, oh, that's so much more work to start all over from the beginning with another channel. She says, don't worry, don't think, just do the next step. Just do the next step. She was pushing me. I'm so grateful to her. Thank you, Sarah, if you're watching that. So this is how Saturn can manifest sometimes in the 7th house. Don't be upset with those people. Sometimes another can be like the quality control for you and pushing you towards action, the engine for motivation. But also, if there are people that are wasting your energy, you can remove them. Sometimes I've seen people get married with Saturn in the 7th house. Further commitment, another meaning of Saturn is commitment. Other times I've seen people separate, because Saturn is depicted also like the death with the scythe. What does the scythe that cuts things? It wants to cut off the dead wood, the dead weed that's just dragging you down. So if there is a business partnership or relationship or contract or agreement that, towards someone, a debt that you're dragging someone along with you, or someone is dragging you along and you've been relying on them, that might be the end of it. So, either you cut off someone, or they cut off from your life for some reason, or they cut themselves off. Because you need to learn to stand on your own to feed, for example, let's say it this way, or because it's a drag on you. You don't need this extra weight that comes to you from another. You might be much stricter towards your partner as well. Or if you're married, it can be like a further, like my sister-in-law just had Saturn in the seventh house, and if there's problems in the relationship, they come to the surface during that time. And she had, like, they broke up for a little bit, but then they realized if there's still juice and life in a relationship, business or personal, you see what the problems are and you decide to work on them. And that's what they decided. They said, we actually really love still each other, so let's work on it. And they committed further with the real estate together, they joined the mutual, they started doing difficult things together, like they are very strongly passionate about their because Saturn is to do something for the common good, and they started going to protests, whatever, so they recommitted fully after the first initial, let's say, the first year of Saturn in her seventh house was like, do we want to be together? Do we not want? But they realized we do, and they committed, and they're stronger. So even if Saturn tests a relationship, it will show what the problems are, and if it has a lot of good things in it, still, it will further recommit you. Also, my sister-in-law, my little brother is Virgo, so he just had Saturn in his seventh house, and his girlfriend. So it can be about what happened for them with Saturn in the seventh house is that they not only took property together, but they got pregnant. So further commitment, they got engaged and they'll get married. So further commitment, so if it's the right relationship, Saturn will further commit you to be more serious, to be more responsible together, to take the next big step in life. That's why sometimes people get married. But if the relationship has outlived itself, if a partner has been, or you have been unfair or cheating or just neglectful, this will really escalate, show you the situation, and can dissolve a relationship. Or even detachment, you can feel very detached from a partner. Maybe sometimes it can happen not because you don't love each other, because they have a lot of responsibilities. Maybe they're working too much, maybe they're taking on some deeper commitment so that doesn't leave so much time for you to connect in a joyful way. It's more connecting through the responsibilities. But again, as I said, like my little brother, they started the business together with Saturn in both of their seventh house. They got pregnant, they got married. So you see, Saturn in the seventh is not just negative stuff. It's maybe some new responsibility that comes to you with a partner. Or if you're single, what does it mean? Well, they say Saturn drying energy. Yeah, some of you might not want to date at all, have committed relationships with Saturn in the seventh house. Sometimes because you're focused on work, for example, or on raising children. Saturn rules your fifth house, or on other stuff. Or others, if there is a relationship, it can be with an age difference. Saturn rules 7 or more years. Some of you might be the older one, or the partner might be the older one. So you can attract more mature relationships. And when Saturn is in your seventh house, you don't just date around for fun. No, this disappears. Like, we're either gonna do something big together and commit and like take the mortgage together, have a child, or be very committed, get married, do some business together, or I'm not just hanging out to have fun. So relationships that are just to have fun, or just that are unclear what you want, what you don't want. Like when I had Saturn in my seventh house from my ascendant, I remember 14 years ago, that was even more, 2008, 2009, 2008, yeah, 2007, 2008, and I couldn't make up my mind who I wanted to be with. I was like, this person, that person, and Saturn entering there. I said, okay, enough, because for 2 years I was like, I like two people. I couldn't make my mind. They both liked me, and I'm like, that's not, Saturn will punish you. You can't string people around. And I had to be very clear. With Saturn in the seventh house, you have to make a choice. You have to make a decision. And I ended up, and I realized Saturn makes it clear to you where you've been misleading yourself. And I was like, if I can't decide between two people, it means neither of them is for me. It's like reality check. I audited my relationships over those 2 years. Both of those relationships ended. And what happened was that because I kept going first one, then I'll break up, I'll go to the other, but then, so Saturn is like clarity, that's it. And all the problems to those relationships came to the surface, it all ended. And I started a new relationship with someone 12 years older than me. It was more karmic relationship, but anyway. So you see, it can play in so many diverse ways. Or for someone, it might be that your partner is just more busy working, or that you meet someone who is, as I said, either more Saturnian, they might be Capricorn. Actually, I met a Capricorn because Saturn rules Capricorn during Saturn in my 7th house. Or it might be that your partner either is some kind of, you meet someone who is Saturnian, maybe in a hierarchical structure, like a boss of some sort, or in the corporate world, or someone that works a lot or has a lot of responsibilities. I had another client says, oh, I have this great relationship, but we haven't been able, my partner's been so, he got a promotion and he had to work so hard. Like her partner got very straight in his head about succeeding, which is Saturn, about getting things done. So she said that this made us more distant, but I'm so grateful to and happy to see him build himself up. So also, it's good for business partnerships, Saturn in the 7th house. It's because of the commitment of, you're doing something serious together. Otherwise, for personal relationships, sometimes they can be a bit more detachment, or having to set rules, or having to work together on some project. But yeah, all contracts that have finished, that are no longer valid in your life, that are just a drag on you, they will end, while productive ones will get even more committed, or you'll do something important together with another. But if you want to find out if there will be more challenges, or it will be more easy, just watch my video on Saturn in Aries, my webinar. It's only $12, which shows like if for example, you have planets in Cancer or Capricorn or Aries, there can be a few more challenges, and I walk you through each of the planet there, what it means if Saturn aspects it. Or if you have planets, say, in Sagittarius or Leo or Gemini or Aquarius, Saturn in your 7th house will be fantastic, because it will, oh my God, my husband has planets in Cancer and in Capricorn. So, and in Libra, of course. Oh, I'll be a handful. Maybe I'll be pushing him hard or demanding something. But if it's making good aspects from the 7th house, if you have planets in air or fire signs, then all those influences coming to you from others, they'll be very stabilizing, very strengthening in your life, with a very positive result as well. So check it out if you want further information for all possible Saturn transits, and you can keep it for life or any future transits you might have. So thank you so much, Libra.